Jill, when are you going to be coming back to my brother's house after being at your parents' place for so long? Hi there, Maya. His name's Little Man, right? Well, it's been 3 months now since you gave birth to Little Man there, right? Little Man? Yeah. There have been a few things going on here, and so I haven't been able to leave just yet. And my older brother is all right with you just staying there for that long and never coming back to him? Of course he is, and I'm not going to be here too much longer. Actually, it was him that told me to stay here a bit longer in the first place. I had some things that I needed help with, as well as needing to help with. Oh, is that so? So that's what's been going on there. What do you mean by that? Nothing in particular. I didn't mean to make that seem like anything, actually. I just thought that since it's been so long since you've left your parents' place, maybe you and my brother ended up getting a divorce or something serious? LOL. I see. Well, there's nothing like that going on between us, so don't worry. Your brother and I still love one another very much, and have even had a baby now to prove that. Well, that's too bad, actually. LOL. Ugh, it was only a matter of time. I knew you'd say something like that, Maya. I'm sure that you're trying to mess with me to make your feelings for me known, but because of how much you hate me for no reason, it's actually quite funny, LOL. What? Looks like my boy is waking up now, so I have to go and see if he needs any food. See ya. Axel, thank you for coming over here a few days ago. It was nice of you to bring all those snacks for us, as well as the blanket I'd asked for.
Hey, Jill, don't worry about it. How's your mum's lower back been doing? I know it was in pretty rough shape the last time I came over. Seems like she was still having a tough time bending over to grab things.
Actually, she's gotten a whole lot better now, which is a huge surprise for me. And I feel that me not being around the house anymore might be all right with her. She seems to have a hang on things again, and doesn't really ask me to help her either now. And she's even able to help my dad again, so that's some miraculous progress.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
But based on timing, there's still another 2 weeks, right? I know that I'll have to come back there at least once soon, but having to bring the baby with me might make it a bit of a challenge, and he's so used to being here now.
You have a good point there. I'm sure you want to get everything you need to taken care of quickly as possible. So it's better to not have our baby mixed in all the commotion.
Well, while I go, I'll make sure that my parents keep a good eye on him, and see if he even notices me being gone. That way I'll have my hands free and should get everything handled within a day.
Oh, well, if you do that, he might be alright. If you don't have a problem with doing that, then I'm totally on board.
Then I'll go ahead and have a talk with my parents about that and the plan. Since my mom's back is getting better, I think she won't mind spending the day alone with her grandbaby. LOL.
Alright. And when you have more details on what will happen with that, let me know. Now I need to start getting back to my office to finish up today's work.
Okay. Thank you for everything, Axel, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Jill? Are you on your way here right now?
Yeah? I took off just a half an hour ago in the car. And I'm at a rest stop right now going to the bathroom before getting back on the road.
I see.
Did something happen that I should be aware of?
Well, something that's a bit of a problem has come up. I was just asked to come into work today out of nowhere. I was told by my manager that one of our systems is having some issues and that I'm the only one that should know how to handle and fix said issue.
Oh, is that so? Well, that kind of hampers our plans a little.
I think if the issue is what I think it is, then I'll be able to come back home by later this evening.
All right. I'll do what I can when I arrive at the house. It'll probably take me a bit longer because I won't have you around to handle the heavy stuff.
I'm sorry about this, but try and take it easy. If need be, you can call my uncle, and I'm sure he'll come to help.
I'll see how everything goes for me first. Good luck with work today, and I hope you're able to fix that issue soon. Jill! You're coming over right now, right? But be warned that you're not going to be able to get inside the house. Because this house is now going to be my house. I've already gone and sold all your things to a pawn shop just a bit ago, and used the money from your things to pay for the moving truck to bring all my furniture and stuff. LOL. Man, I was kicked out of that apartment I'd been living in before by myself, and this whole time I was looking for a good place to move into. But because of you guys, I've been able to move from that musty one-room apartment into this large and open place. I'm so lucky. Ah, and another thing. This house is going to be where my boyfriend and I start our romantic lives together, so you are not allowed to even step onto the property. LOL. Goodbye! LOL. What? Maya, what's all this about? What is this about a huge and open house? That's... Ah, you're finally responding to me. You took so long to reply, LOL. I was in my car driving home. But right now I've stopped at a gas station to take a break and grab some food. Maya, what are you doing in some stranger's house right now? I told you. Starting today and going forward, I'll be living here with my boyfriend. In other words, you no longer have a house of your own, so go on back to your parents' house, please. LOL. How did you get into the house with it being locked? I don't ever remember you having a key to the place. When we were all back at my parents' house a while back, I found the key in my brother's key case and stole it out of there for a few hours to make a duplicate. You've gone and done yet another needless thing. Why would you do something like that? Because you and my older brother are going to be getting divorced, right? Huh? Why would we do anything like that? Because the reason for you taking so long to come back to my brother is that you wanted to stay there with your parents because you don't love my brother anymore, right? And I've noticed that ever since you went back to your parents' place, my brother had to go there more and more often. That right there is something a man would do when he realizes that his wife is never coming home and wants a divorce. LOL. I can see that you've really gone off the rails and started making up a fake scenario, but there's a reason for me staying at my parents' house a bit longer. There have been a few things going on here that required me to stay. What are those few things? Well, to start off, after having my son, my health wasn't doing too well and my energy wasn't coming back. And after around 2 months of slowly getting my energy back and planning on going home, my mom ended up pulling her lower back pretty badly. And since I still had a bit of time left before I needed to go back to work, I decided I'd stay with my parents a bit longer and help my mom around the house. But my brother has been wanting to get a divorce now too, right? I know that for sure. Because I was at my parents' house for a longer time? That's right. I'm sorry, but you're just making things up now. I know I just told you this a second ago, but I took all your things and sold them to the nearby pawn shop. LOL. So now there's not a single thing of yours left in this house for you to get. LOL. I can see that you're set on the idea that all of those things you just sold were my things. The furniture, the appliances, clothing, and so on. That's right, LOL. When I came into this house, there was nothing in any of the other rooms besides the one with all your things. So I assume my brother already moved out and back to my mom and dad's place to prepare for the divorce, LOL. Well, all of that was stuff that I didn't need. Huh? A while back, we had planned on moving out of that house. While I was back at my parents' home waiting to have my baby, Axel worked to get the house all packed up so that we could move out. And that room closest to the front door was just where we placed all my unneeded things. And all the things we planned to have taken to our new house is being kept in a storage unit close by to the house. Huh? Is that right? I'm sure when you went and sold the desk in there and my drawers, there was nothing in them, right? Did you not notice that? Now that you mention it, the person at the pawn shop never said anything about needing to remove anything from inside them. And another thing, I was planning on coming back to that house to finish cleaning all of my stuff up and selling it myself, as well as to clean out the house and make it look relatively new again. But now that you've done a lot of that, you've helped me a bunch, LOL. Huh? And so for getting that all taken care of for me, you can go ahead and use the money you made selling my leftover things on whatever you want. Wait, could that have all been you trying to mess with me again by thinking that you could force me out of the house? Well, thanks for that. What the heck? You're just trying to act all tough now because I've stolen your house, LOL. Well, no matter what you try to say to me, my boyfriend and I are making this house ours now, and we're going to renovate it any way we please. Okay, do whatever you want with the place. You're still going to act tough in front of me? LOL. I'm not going to feel bad for you after doing this, so don't get your hopes up that you'll get the house back. Huh? We have already changed the name on the front of the house to ours, and we've gotten rid of all your things in this place. So no matter what, no matter how you try and cope with it, this is my house. If you come here, we'll call the police on you. LOL. I still have some things to say. What now? Huh? You can do whatever you want there, but only for today. Huh? I was only planning to use today to clean the place out and fix any issues that still might have plagued the house. But now that you guys have done most of that for me, I'll be handing the house back to the landlord tomorrow. Huh? Hand it over? To the landlord? Jill! What is going on now? An old man just came here and kicked the two of us out of the house. And just before he had the two of us kicked out, he told us to both clean all the corners of the house until it shined and there were no more stains. And everything we had just moved inside today, all the furniture and appliances, he had us take them all outside and into the yard. I had just made our room into a cute and beautiful space for my boyfriend and I, and that man had us tear it all down and ruin it. And at the end of all this, my boyfriend yelled at me saying he never asked to have something like this happen to him, and he ran off. What is wrong with this geezer? You still don't understand? What am I supposed to understand after all of this? Do you know who the owner of that house actually is? I do. This house belongs to my brother, right? He was the one that bought this whole house the moment you got married to him. I remember how it was so old and run down when he first bought it, but then he did a huge reformation on the house and made it look so nice that even I was jealous of it. And that's why I've come to take it now. Well, that house is the place that your brother and I have been renting from a distant uncle of yours. Huh? Jeez. I'm glad that I kept the fact that we were moving out a secret from you and your family for a while. If I told you about this all sooner, you might have started to act like even more of a spoiled brat, and we might have had to call the police on you or something for trying to trespass. Why would you do that? Because you'd be trespassing. Well, actually, you still have been since that's not our house. Maya, really, you've really done it this time. You're lying, right? Axel! Where did you and Jill move to now? Tell me the address, please.
What do you want? I don't have time for you right now, Maya.
I tried to talk with Jill some more about this, but I think she's gone and blocked me now. So I can only talk to you now, Axel.
By the way, just a few days ago, didn't our uncle have you taken care of after going into his house?
Well, I don't want to be around him anymore, and that's why I'm going to come to you now.
You think so?
At this point, I'd even be okay with living around some ugly hag like Jill, because I'd at least have a place to sleep. Ugh, if I don't hurry up, he's going to come and get me again. Tell me where your new house is now.
You think I'm going to let you come and live with us after you said such horrible things about my wife?
Huh?
For a while now, the two of us have been wanting to go overseas. And I think it's about that time.
Overseas?
Yep. I'm sure you were aware that I work in the same company as Jill does. But for a while now, we've had plans on moving out of the country to go live somewhere in Europe with our baby boy. So we're in New York at the moment, staying in a company house, getting some training so we can be relocated to an office over there.
New York? That's too far for me to drive all the way to.
Stop acting like a brat and go back to your uncle. I'm sure that he's willing to let you start working for a company he owns even.
He told me that I'd have to go to every floor of the office building and clean all the toilets on each floor for him, and I can't use the elevator.
Really? Well, that seems like a good way to get you to stop acting so spoiled and learn how to become a responsible young adult.
It's not good.
Do your best, Maya.
I don't want to. That last conversation that my husband and his sister had over text was later shown to me by him, but right after that, he told me that he really wants to move overseas now and get away from his sister as soon as possible. But I told him we still have training to complete yet, and that I want our boy to at least be 1 year old before we go, and so he'll have to wait. LOL. And as for Maya, who's now under the care of her distant uncle who's even allowed her to work for him, she's doing just as she'd said, and is having to clean toilets on every floor of that office building 3 times a day. And since she never was the kind of person to go out a lot and move, her body had a hard time keeping up with the stairs she had to go up and down, leaving her in pain as her muscles cramped up. But I've heard from Axel that the next thing his uncle has planned for her is that once she's gained the strength to start getting all the cleaning done on time, he'll begin to give her even more tasks so that she never feels the job is easy. And by doing that, she'll hopefully begin to have a change of heart and realize that she can't force her way into everything without there being consequences. I just hope that plan works, and that one day my son can meet his only aunt back in the US. But if that can't happen, it's probably for the better. LOL.
Hey Lisa, I've been working late today, so you don't need to prepare any supper for me.
What? You're working late again? What time do you think you'll be home then?
I told you this before, but it's always hard to know. My boss is taking me out for drinks and it's not in my control. I'm sure we'll be done by the last train.
You've been coming home late a lot lately.
It's not like I'm doing this on purpose. Going out for drinks after work is part of my job. Sucking up to your boss is important if you want to move up in the world.
I guess that's true. But I hear your coworker Brady doesn't come home too late. I bumped into his wife the other day and she told me that he hasn't had to work overtime at all lately.
Oh yeah, he's given up on getting any promotions, that's why. I'm guessing he's happy staying where he is forever. He's already labeled as useless at a company. That's why he's never invited to come out after work.
But isn't it a good thing that he gets to spend more time with his family? I don't think it's necessary to go out every night.
Well, I'm not always going out with the same people. I want to create a broad range of personal connections. It's especially important that I try really hard right now. This could decide whether I have an opportunity to get a promotion in the future.
Okay, I guess I understand then. Just make sure you don't drink too much.
Of course, I know that.
I know you can't help it today, but it would make me very happy if you tried coming home early more often. It's hard for me to be alone with your mom all the time.
Why? What do you mean?
I just told you about this the other day. Were you not paying attention?
Oh, is it about you feel like she's picking on you?
Yeah. For instance, she made me clean the entire storage room this morning. I can't help but to think that she's doing these things just to be mean.
What other things did she do to make you feel that way?
Well, she made me clean the storage room thoroughly last week as well. Despite that, I had to take out everything and wipe her again today for no apparent reason. It wasn't even dirty to begin with, and she hardly ever even uses that room anyway. I think she's just running out of places for me to clean.
Why don't you just make up some excuse and say no? You're only stressed out because you take things too seriously all the time.
But she would bother me all day if I didn't do as she says. She says things like, "Oh, I shouldn't have let you marry my son." Or, "I wish I could trade you off with a younger and more beautiful wife for my son." What's more, today she told me that because I'm in my 30s now, I'm old and hideous.
Well, isn't that how it works for every mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship? I'm sure everyone deals with these things. It's not like you're the only one with this problem, so don't worry about it.
How could you say things like that? Who am I supposed to trust if you're not even on my side?
Don't say things like that, I'm not picking sides. It's my mother we're talking about.
But it's really hard for me to hear her talk to me this way every single day. I'm trying my hardest to get her approval, but I think she's already made up her mind from the beginning that she doesn't like me. She's constantly making me do random, unnecessary tasks and talking down to me. Do you realize how difficult this is to deal with every day?
What do you want to do then?
When you're around, she doesn't treat me that way. That's why I want you to be home more often.
Well, I have to work, so it's not possible.
I know that. I guess I'd just like you to not go out after work as often, if you can. Or maybe you can try talking to your mom about this?
I don't know. I feel like I've been making her out to be a horrible person.
Well, she is picking on me.
It's not like she's hitting you. Just don't think about it. You're making it a way bigger deal than it is.
Can you say the same thing if this was happening to you?
I don't think it would bother me. I have to go through way harder things than this at one time. I can't even keep track of how many times I've been talked down to. But even then, I'm expected not to complain and keep a smile on my face. It annoys me that I have to listen to these types of complaints when you are mostly able to relax at home.
It's fine. Just forget it.
I'm glad you finally understand how selfish you're being. You have to realize how fortunate you are. Everything is provided for you. And the only thing you have to do is deal with my mom.
It wasn't my choice to quit my job. You were the one who asked me to quit and stay home with your mom.
But you ultimately made that decision. Don't complain about the choices you made for yourself. You should just appreciate the fact that you can stay home and not have any responsibilities. I don't want to hear about this ever again. Just solve these issues on your own.
Hey, Max. How could you do this to me? Please unlock the door and let me in.
I told you I'm not letting you in the house anymore. I will ship all your stuff to your parents' house. You can sign the divorce papers later. Wait until you hear from me.
On top of suddenly asking me for a divorce, you kicked me out without notice. How could you do this to me?
Well, I'll let you have your personal items like your wallet.
Even so, shouldn't we at least talk about it?
What do you mean? You don't want to get divorced? Even though we barely see each other lately.
That's because you hardly ever come home. I would be lying if I said it never crossed my mind. But even then, isn't it wrong to ask me to leave without first talking about things?
It's hard to live in the same house as someone you are divorcing. Why do I have to keep taking care of you until you're ready to leave?
I didn't ask you to support me. All I wanted was to have a proper amount of time to gather my things. I don't think it's normal to kick your spouse out like that without even talking about things first.
It's meaningless to talk about it when all I want is divorce. We will see each other when you sign the divorce papers. Isn't that good enough?
How are you planning to meet up? You know my parents' home is really far from here, right?
Well, you can travel back here when it's time.
Seriously? How selfish are you?
Well, if you don't like it, then why don't you stay at a nearby hotel until the papers are ready? But don't even think about asking me to pay for it.
Is the reason you're divorcing me because there's someone else?
What are you talking about?
Well, your mother told me. She said that you will definitely bring home a young, pretty girl one of these days.
That's just something my mom made up.
Well, you had been staying out often. Sometimes even overnight. You said you'd been sleeping in the office, but I have trouble believing that.
Well, I was actually sleeping at a cheap motel near work.
I don't need to hear your lame excuses. In your suit pants pocket, I found a receipt from a woman's clothing store. And I noticed the credit card bill had charged for an expensive hotel. I'm pretty sure you even went on an overnight spa trip. So you're divorcing me because there's someone else, right?
Where's your proof?
Well, all those credit card bills and stuff.
That doesn't prove anything. I just stayed at the nice hotel and went to the spa trip on my own. Aren't you desperate? Now that we're getting divorced, you're just making things up to get alimony from me. It's exactly this type of behavior that is causing you to be dumped.
If you're so perfect, show me your smartphone.
Why would I do that?
If you're so clean, you have nothing to hide, right?
That's invading my privacy. You're such a joke. But I guess I'm glad you're this way. It makes me even happier that I'm divorcing you.
What would you do if I said I don't want a divorce?
Then we'll have to fight on a court. Either way, I don't want to live in the same house as you anymore. Pleasant every time I see you. I have zero feelings for you anymore. And yet I'm giving you a fair split of our assets. So there's no reason for the courts not accept this divorce.
You talk about a fair share, but there's hardly anything to begin with. All the money that we had saved, you wasted on unnecessary things.
Couldn't be helped, it was all necessary purchases. Think about what the neighbors might think with you just standing there. Please leave the property now. I'm never gonna let you in the house.
You're a horrible jerk until the end.
Didn't you mold me into this person? You clearly didn't do a good job performing your duties as a wife. My mother is saying she can't wait for me to find a wife that is way better than you.
Karma is gonna get you too badly if you keep acting this way.
What possible bad thing could happen to me by breaking up with such a useless wife? Maybe you should worry about yourself. Aren't you worried about whether a simple housewife like you can even get a proper job again?
I can always find work as long as I'm not too picky.
Yeah, I guess you can always find minimum paying jobs. Well, we just aren't made for each other. So stop with this nonsense and leave already. We're getting divorced because you were a bad wife. Just know that you aren't suited for marriage. And go on with your life with that lesson in mind. Hey Lisa, it's been a while.
What? Max?
Yeah, it's me. Happy to see you the other day. So that's why I thought I'd reach out and say hello.
Is that so? And? Is there anything else? I'd appreciate it if you didn't bother me again for no reason.
Yeah, you don't need to be so cruel. I'm your ex-husband for Pete's sake.
Yeah, ex-husband. We're just complete strangers now. I deleted your contact info and all our past messages. Because I have nothing to say to you anymore.
Well, why didn't you block me or something then?
That's because I completely forgot that you even existed. I didn't even think to block you.
You don't need to be so harsh. I do feel bad about how I acted during our divorce. I realize now that it was a bit too one-sided.
I don't care about that at this point.
Oh, by the way, did I hear it right that you're working in the hospital now?
Why, is that where you saw me?
Yes, you don't have any nurse's license or anything, so I've heard that it's a tough job. How you liking it?
I told you it's none of your business. Stop texting me if you don't have any specific reason. I will make sure to block you this time. And I will ignore you even if I bump into you at the hospital. I expect you to do the same. Bye then.
Wait! I do have something specific to tell you.
What is it?
Do you want me to support you financially?
What?
I'm sure you were tired of being used by nurses. Making ends meet every month. Wouldn't it be nice if you can go back to being a simple housewife?
I don't understand what you're trying to say. I never, ever want to live with you ever again.
Well, you can commute then.
Commute?
Mom got dementia, so I need you to come take care of her. She's been really bad lately, and it's getting too much for me to handle by myself.
Is that so?
I know we broke up, but she used to be your mother-in-law. Mom is also saying that she'd happily accept help if it's yours. I will include free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How's that?
You are joking, right? Nobody would ever accept volunteer work like that. Besides, my mother-in-law passed away 3 years ago.
What? Passed away? You are the one with the jokes. She's very much alive.
I said my mother-in-law, meaning my husband's mother.
What? Are you married?
Yep.
It's only been 6 years.
You mean it's already been 6 years?
But you said your mother-in-law passed away 3 years ago. Does that mean you were already married 3 years ago?
Yes. Is that a problem?
Yeah, you were not as innocent as I thought.
What? Are you kidding me? You've got some nerve. You're the one who quickly remarried someone right after we got divorced.
You knew about my marriage?
Yeah, all the neighbors were talking about it. Saying you got a new wife right after you kicked me out. I also know that you guys broke up. I guess they thought I would like to know that as well.
Mom and I talked, and the young wife was completely useless, and I regret breaking up with you.
Well, I have zero regrets. I'm even happy that we broke up.
You don't need to pretend to be tough. He's the kind of husband who's still making you work after all. And he married you and you're already past your prime. You must be a miserable old man who can't even provide.
Who do you think you are?
Why don't you just leave the loser and come back to me? I will never make you work just to make ends meet. You can go back to doing simple house chores.
I've had enough of your nonsense. You are the old, miserable man who has no ability to provide for the family. Besides, I'm not working at the hospital.
What? But I saw you wearing an apron and helping an elderly person in a wheelchair. I also saw you talking to the hospital staff.
I was just taking my husband's relative out for a stroll. My husband owns that hospital. Of course I talk to the staff from time to time.
What? Your new husband is a doctor then?
That's right.
That's a pretty big hospital too.
Well, yeah, big enough to have an inpatient's ward.
I see. Then please let my mum be admitted to the hospital.
Don't nursing home for her. That's not what we do at our hospital.
I'm sure you can do something about it if it's just one person.
It doesn't work that way. Quit joking around and look for a proper institute for her. What kind of person thinks to ask his ex-wife to take his mother-in-law in because you can't care for her yourself? I'm worried about your mental state.
I can't even afford any nursing homes. I had to pay a lot of alimony and my last wife loved expensive things. On top of that, because my mom isn't feeling well, she caused a lot of trouble with people and I'm still paying compensation for the damage she caused.
That has nothing to do with me.
Please help me! I haven't been able to go to work lately. And the house is a mess as well. I can only ask you for something like this.
Weren't you the one who ignored me when I asked you for help when your mother was picking on me? Didn't you say that it's my fault for taking things too seriously? And on top, you cheated on me and kicked me out saying we're getting a divorce. So what makes you think that I'd want to help you after all that? How many times do you have to stomp all over me until you're satisfied?
I don't want to stomp all over you, it's just that you are the kindest person I know and Mom also agrees that you were the best wife for me.
It's too late for anything and I will never forgive either of you. You guys deserve this. A mother-in-law whose only joy in life is to pick on her daughter-in-law and a garbage husband who cheats on his wives. No one would ever want to help people who are like that.
Lisa, I'm sorry, I really am. It would make a big difference if you could help even just a little bit. Please help me take care of her. I promise I will come up with a solution to make it worth your while.
The reason why nobody's willing to help you right now is because of how you have treated others in the past. You did it to yourself, so deal with it.
If I could deal with this myself, I wouldn't be asking. I've never paid any attention to what it takes to run a house. All I know is my work. Please help me. I will do anything. I'll even grovel at your feet if that helps. Please help.
Stop whining and go ask for advice from City Hall. They will help even a piece of garbage like you. Oh, and one last thing. I wasn't a bad wife who isn't suited for marriage. Because I'm happily married right now. My only mistake was marrying a defective garbage husband. Right after I sent him that message, I made sure to block him this time. And apparently he caused a scene by storming into my husband's hospital and demanding to see me. Of course, we called the police and had him removed from the property. We made him promise that he will never come near me nor the hospital. And we also informed his boss about the incident as well. That boss is actually Brady, the colleague Max used to look down on. I guess it ended up being Max who never received any promotion. I really regret marrying a loser like him, but I'm trying to think that I have my happiness right now because of the past. I have no idea what happened to them since then, but I happened to walk by their house a few years later, and it looked very run down, like it was in ruins. Anyway, it's none of my business how they are anymore. I just want to always remember to appreciate my husband, my family, and people around me for loving and supporting me, and I want to cherish this happiness in life forever.